What's the number one mistake that coaches make in their marketing and growing their business every single day? I'm going to cover that today. I know it because it's something that comes up again and again in all the prospects that I talk to week after week. It's actually something that I suffered with for a long period of time until one of my mentors pointed it out and showed me a better way. So I'm going to do that today, give you a glimpse on what this mistake is. You might be doing it right now, you might not. And show you the better path for something that you can start doing today to grow your business and grow beyond those referrals and word of mouth. So, this mistake usually comes up when somebody reaches out to me and they really want to update their marketing or update their website. And what their key complaints are is that they feel like they have a really good presence online, but they're not getting enough people reaching out to them. They're not getting enough people on discovery calls. And that's really holding back their business. They've got these referrals, they got word of mouth, that's sustaining their business, but they're not really growing to where their real potential is because, again, not enough people are reaching out. They're kind of not in control of their own growth of their business. So, like I said, I did this as well. As I kind of started with building my website, building all this marketing, and kind of sat around it and waited for people to reach out to me. And that's really the number one mistake, is not being proactive in reaching out to people, those prospects that you really want to work with, and starting those conversations. Because really, to generate your reputation, to show your expertise, you have to go out into the market and give people value and kind of coach them even before they become a client of yours. Because again, if they hire you as a coach, they're hiring you not only for your expertise, but also for you as a person. So you have to kind of go out there and demonstrate how great of a coach you are for them specifically. Because again, a lot of people will have that question like, okay, she seems like she has, or he seems like he has a lot of great testimonials and things like that, but can he help me? Or she, can she help me in my unique situation? And by being out there and actually being proactive, it really helps as part of that, and it kind of changed the game for my business as well, really initiating those conversations on a week by week basis to really drum up that demand for your services, but also to show that value along the way. So I want to show you exactly how to do this, because a lot of people don't know. What they start to doing is they start sending out cold pitches and things like that. And I want to show you a different way, just so that you're doing it in the right manner, to kind of lower the fear and anxiety or imposter syndrome that you might feel in reaching out to people and having these conversations. So I'll first start with what not to do. And this is kind of something I'll start with LinkedIn as the example, just because it's top of mind for me. And that's where I spend a lot of my time. But I want to start with what you shouldn't do. If you're reaching out to your potential prospects, the one thing that you shouldn't do is kind of be cold pitching them. So I'm going to show you an example of this. And again, if you're on LinkedIn all the time, you kind of get these examples like this. So this is just a recent example that I got. I took away his identifying information, but you can see it's you can usually tell right away, especially on LinkedIn, whenever you get a long message like this, it's just like, okay, here's another cold pitch that is coming out there. And this is exactly what you shouldn't do. And you can see from the top here, it's, it doesn't even have my name in there. So you didn't even spend the time to, put in autofill or things like that to make it a little bit more personalized. It just says, "Dear Sir." And then it's just like, okay, here comes the cold pitch right away. And again, this is not what you should do. You have a coaching business, don't go out to people and just, send out what your service is all about. It's the same thing if you're using dating as an example. That's the easy example. Like, would you go out and propose to that person on the first date? You wouldn't. So don't do it here in terms of a cold pitch. It's, again, something that I did especially in the early part of my business. It's not to say that you can't get clients from it, but it's not a sustainable business, client acquisition strategy. So again, I'm going to show you a different way. And the different way is really to spend a little bit more time in getting to know that person that you're sending a message to. And that means actually doing some research. So again, it's a little, you're going to send less messages. Then, a cold pitch, you can just send them right away just because you're not doing any research. You're sending the same message. You can send out, 1,000 messages if you wanted to. Here, I would say, a lot more about the quality. It's all about kind of quality over quantity. So we're going to spend a few minutes actually researching the people that we're looking to communicate with. And the first thing that you have to kind of think about in your coaching business is who are the type of people that you most want to work with. And especially if you're a brand new coach, it might be hard to kind of identify that, but you can start with like, who are the people that are most like me that might resonate with my story, my background, my coaching experience, and start with that. So start looking for similar people just like you in terms of interests, in terms of background, things like that. But, take some time to really identify your kind of niche, who you actually want to go after. And by doing that, it's going to really increase the marketing. Your marketing is going to resonate much more. Your content's going to resonate much more because you're speaking their language. So how do we actually go out there? I'm just going to use my profile as an example. So again, we go back to LinkedIn as an example, but you can do this on Facebook. You can do it on YouTube, whatever online platform. They all typically have some type of profile. So what I want you to do is spend 2 or 3 minutes going through a person's profile, take a look at their headline, go down the page, like what are the things that they feature? Like what is that content? Will give you kind of a clue into like what's important to them. You get a sense for, what makes them tick. Take a look at their experience. Is there any shared experience that you might have with that person? Take a look at the recommendations, see what other people are thinking about. So for this one, I got a recommendation here, talked about being on the podcast. Okay. So, if you're reaching out to me, take a look at that podcast episode. You'll get a little bit more insight about me. And that makes it a lot easier to kind of personalize that message, find those areas of common interest, and eventually get that response that you're looking for. And that's all we're trying to get, is to start a conversation. Could be as easy as finding those areas of common interest. The other thing you can do is just to go into see all activity and take a look at like what are who are the people that that person is interacting with. Take a look at their posts and get a sense for, okay, are they posting regularly? And to make it easier for yourself, if they're not posting regularly, maybe that's not somebody that you reach out to. If they're not giving you a lot of information to create a more personalized message, then move on to somebody else, because there's an abundance of opportunities out there in your coaching business to reach out to people that are just active on social media or posting somewhere. Again, you can do a Google search as well to see what comes up. And, this doesn't have to take a long period of time, 4 or 5 minutes to kind of create that personalized message that really speaks to that person, to actually show that you're showing genuine interest in them. And, just in terms of reciprocity, showing that interest in somebody else, you're going to stand out among the online community because most people aren't doing this. But, by showing genuine interest in somebody else, they're going to show genuine interest back. And that's going to make it really easy for you to talk about your coaching services and what you could potentially help that person to do. So like if you went through my post right here, you'd see things like, okay, I've got, one of the things that I always talk about is kind of my kids and things like that. So, if you have kids, that's something that you could lead with, or just mention something on their post. Again, you don't have to have the same interest as that person, but maybe lead with the thing that they're posting about again and again. So go to a page on a profile and you see again and again and again, they're talking about their dog. So maybe just lead with, how cute you think their dog is, or whatever makes them tick on their profile. Let's lean into what that person cares about. That's going to be more likely that they're going to respond back, and just start that conversation back and forth. And again, when you're starting that conversation, all we want to do is give a little bit more information about yourself so that they have some things to grab onto, and it kind of leads to a back and forth rather than you kind of peppering that person with questions, which is not where you want to be. You don't want to be just slinging questions at them and them responding back in kind. We want a balanced conversation and going back. And that will naturally lend itself to you giving value along the way, showing your expertise, and eventually leading to the potential that they become a client. Some people won't become a client right away. Some people, maybe somebody in their network knows somebody that it's worth reaching out to and doing it in that way. But I would definitely say, in terms of thinking about your audience, get away from the cold pitches, but be proactive. Don't just sit back and wait for your business. And I kind of detail this in my lead magnet here, so you can take a look at this. Go to swarmingwithclients.com, where I kind of lay out how to actually do this. So being proactive and reaching out to your clients is just step one of this. There's actually 2 other steps, 2 other pillars as part of my 3-pillar marketing plan that are part of that. And as part of my broader Hive method, there's 3 easy steps to start getting consistent clients coming to you with your online presence and doing it in the right way. So check that out, Swarming with Clients.